Hi, everyone. I am so thrilled and grateful to be here with you. It is a year since I started the Becoming You podcast, and so much has changed in my life. As always, as humans, we're constantly iterating, and I know we talk about that a lot. For the last 5 years, I've been podcasting and interviewing folks and bringing these conversations to you so that you can see first how easy it is to talk to people, strangers or long term friends. You can just strike up a conversation with anyone, listen attentively and ask questions and learn more about their life experience. And that was a big driving force to bringing these conversations into a virtual world and bringing them to your home, wherever you are. The other part was to continue building and growing my network, which led to building my personal brand, which led to many career opportunities that I never saw coming and didn't initially intend to have as a result of creating Winning Wednesday back in 2020. And part of the process for me with creating Becoming You this year in 2024 was to kind of reclaim my own voice and figure out, what do I want my brand to be and how do I want to show up in the world, and what stock can I take of my own life to look back on my own journey of becoming. When I think about my career, I think about the opportunities I thought I had to influence the trajectory I was on. And the reality is, companies will pay you for the work they want you to do, and you don't always get a say in that. Sometimes your say is as small as, yes, I'll do the work, or no, I won't, and I'll look for a new job. And having that reality check is pretty sobering, especially the older you get or the deeper into working for a company you get, because you realize you don't have as much autonomy, influence, or aspirations even as you once did. And that has been a very interesting process to go through. And it's something that started for me during the pandemic. So, coming up on 5 years now of just thinking about all these different things. I thought I had a growth mindset in all areas of life, realized it really only applied to work. So, I decided, how can I take this growth mindset that I have at work and bring it into my personal life and expand the life I have outside of work? I mean, we don't work to, what is the phrase? We don't live to work, we work to live, right? You want to take that paycheck home with you and be able to use it in the ways that you see fit, in a way that's going to invest in yourself and fill yourself up and really bring about, the most exciting life, whatever that looks like for you. As opposed to just every morning when you waking up for, some other entity. And sometimes that's easier said than done. I would say at different times in my life, I've definitely been living for work and I've loved it. I have always been driven towards success, achievement, accolades, recognition, community building, and working with people. And work itself has given me a lot of those, and it's checked a lot of those boxes. But for me personally, the pandemic was a huge shift in that level of community. I was no longer satisfying those needs through work by being in this isolated, remote environment. I didn't have the support system that a lot of my colleagues had in the home. And that was pretty eye opening for me. And I wondered to myself, what did I do to get to this point? What decisions had I made that led me to this crossroads, so to speak? And one of my very wise colleagues who's been on both shows, Winning Wednesday and Becoming You, told me, Katrina, nobody chose to be alone during a global pandemic. So go easy on yourself, have some grace for yourself, and take some space for yourself, and go outside and go for a walk. And that made such a huge difference for me. At the time, I had stayed in my apartment for 2 months straight in quarantine. And I laugh because it's like mind boggling, my perception of that time. I thought if we all just did our job, if we all just took the time to think about someone other than ourselves, then this would move through society quickly and we'd be back on track in no time. And obviously, that is not exactly how that turned out. And it's okay. I mean, none of us really knew what was going on. And I personally was just trying to do the best I could, as we all do, I think, at throughout our life, we try to do the best we can with what we know at the time. And hopefully when we learn something new, we do something better. It's never easy to go through changes. Humans by nature don't really enjoy change. I tend to embrace change a bit more than maybe the average person, but it doesn't mean that it's easier for me. It's just something I lean into. So I kind of mind over matter and bulldoze through it and figure out where I'm going to end up on the other side. And I'm about a year and a half out from that initial decision, and I've had and experienced a lot of personal growth during that time frame. And I've landed in kind of a interesting place that I think is just cultivating this life I have for myself, that I'm choosing for myself. And it's very aligned, but it's very gray. I don't necessarily know what is in store for me in the next year or 5 years or 10 years. And I think that can be exciting, and it can also be very typical of life. You'll go for an interview and people will ask, what's your 5-year plan? But we all know that if you look back on the last 5 years, nothing probably went according to plan anyway. So how effective or impactful could that question and that answer really be? Who's to say? I did write some things down that I wanted to make sure I capture in this episode. Since it's just me chatting and no one's here to ask me questions, but as a person who's pretty introspective and self-reflective, I just wanted to take a moment to personally thank everyone who's been part of this process and been on the show. So without further ado, this is what I wrote, and I would love to share it with you now. I'm really grateful to my guests who shared their stories of becoming with such levels of self-awareness and clarity. They are inspirational, how they've turned their pain into purpose. We all have different moments in our life that shape the trajectory of our life and influence who we are in the world and how we show up. There are many ways to grow as a human within this life, and we are afforded numerous opportunities to learn more about ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed this one outlet of personal, professional discovery and have taken some time to reflect on your own journeys. We never stop becoming who we are. The process is continuously iterative. I have been so fortunate in my life. I've met so many people already, and I know that I'll continue to meet many more people. I appreciate you being part of my journey thus far, and I wish you all the best in this next chapter of your life. Until next time. And I wrote that for you, the audience, for me, if I ever look back on this, and to my guests who so willingly, courageously, and unashamedly joined me for this journey to be interviewed, to be part of this virtual process of podcasting, which I started 5 years ago before it was so mainstream. And now it seems like everyone has a podcast, and everyone's trying to monetize everything. And that doesn't necessarily align with my values or why I started this in the first place. And I can't say for sure whether I'll continue recording these episodes or not, but I wanted to give some closure to 2024. And if any of this resonates with you, if you'd like to have a chat with me, please feel free to reach out. I'm always available. And like I said, until next time, this has been Becoming You. You are my most important listener, and I can't thank you enough for spending your time with me. If this content resonates with you, then hit subscribe. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube by following @ConnectorQueen. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you again on the next episode of Becoming You.